We said in that video that was used to celebrate the additions of Oklahoma and Texas as new members just a few weeks ago, that it's time to update. It's time to update your expectations for what college athletics can be. And many of you have written or opined about this being a unique time for college athletics. Time for movement, obviously, and a time of change. And we as leaders are responsible for navigating what really are, for us in college sports, uncharted waters of change. And we're doing so at a time when the pressures to recruit, to win, to draw people in are just as high as they've ever been. But we've added a set of external factors: the litigation that presses in, state-level legislation, conversations with Congress, and the emergence of the next great idea that is sold or pitched as something that will quickly and fully resolve the issues currently faced in college sports. But the reality is, there is no easy button we can just go push to resolve the issues we face. And there's no magic pill. And any time you go through a reset, it is difficult. Again, I'll say we need more of what college football and college sports does and can do, because we're at a time filled with uncertainty. And that exists in our culture in a big picture, and it exists in college sports. On May 23rd, the plaintiffs, in a set of lawsuits along with the NCAA, the ACC, the Big Ten, Big 12, SEC, and Pac-12 announced agreement on terms of a settlement related to a set of lawsuits. And while that agreement does not resolve every issue, and it is not a finish line, it does provide an opportunity for us to move forward in modernizing important elements of college sports. There's a lot of work still to be done. There's work to finalize the full terms of a settlement agreement. Beyond just terms is the hard work of implementing the outcome of that agreement. We are literally working to make what would normally be a decade's worth of change in a matter of months. We're not in a world either where we're allowed to focus on just one issue or even one small set of issues at any particular time. As you know, there are other lawsuits. We have state attorneys general that have engaged in lawsuits against the NCAA. We have state legislatures continuing to enact or change laws that govern how we conduct college athletics. There are outside ideas that come from those apparently associated with private equity firms, professional leagues, search firms, former executives from leading media companies who want to insert their thinking. We have new wave entrepreneurs who want to be in on the so-called the so-called front end of a new paradigm for college athletics. But it's our leadership responsibility to figure this out. And in a moment, I'm going to repeat some things I've repeated in past years. And you could rightly, potentially say, well, there he goes again. But you know what? Change doesn't happen in an instant. And we're dealing with an incredibly complex set of issues that when I sit down with some of those leaders in the areas that I mentioned, and I describe the various challenges we face, it is universal. Whether it's a professional league commissioner, a member of Congress, a high-level attorney, at some point they'll look at me and say, that's the most complicated situation I've ever heard. That's why there's no easy button. But we have the responsibility on our university campuses to constantly be evaluating and exploring the best partnerships and innovations that protect the collective interests of our universities while also tackling new legal and political realities. But you know what? We also have to do that in a way that continues to engage with our fans, that continues to honor the traditions that are important to our campuses and our communities. And yes, we're going to seek to capitalize on new revenue opportunities that support our athletics programs and our student-athlete participants.